Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. Just on the channel, Dark Five Ancient Mysteries. Yeah, Dark Five Ancient Mysteries. Just come across perusing YouTube as you do. A lot of this stuff just pops up for me, to be honest, because of the stuff I watch. But yeah, I just subscribed and liked the video. I hadn't seen the channel before. I don't think. I don't think I've mentioned it before. But the title of the video caught my eye. Thought it was quite interesting. The stuff that we've been sort of looking at. Built by giants is the start of the title of the video. The massive ancient pyramid hidden inside a mountain in Mexico, and sort of links into the Bosnia pyramid that people thought was a mountain, and the Bosnia complex, possibly four pyramids that people thought were mountains, covered in dirt, covered in foliage and trees over God knows how many years. And yeah, it's lost to time, and people believed it was mountains, not a pyramid for quite a while. I mean, a lot of the world still don't know that. To my knowledge, it's not common knowledge, the Bosnia pyramid. Um, Go and look it up. I've got a video on it, but there's some good videos. I think there's actually videos on it from the people who actually found it and go and excavate it, and they found tunnels underneath 10,000 miles long or something like that. I can't remember the exact figure. Maybe that's a bit excessive. Um, yeah, but four pyramids hidden under dirt, lost to time. People thought were mountains. So again, no mention of giants really in the Bosnia tale, but we've been mentioning giants, biblical giants, the Nephilim. Yeah, so this video linking sort of the giants to pyramids to hidden inside mountains, which then links to maybe the floods and being covered over with dirt so that they've been hidden and then foliage has grown over a time. And yeah, it's all linking together really. So the video, as I say, in Dark Five Ancient Mysteries, it's only 10 minutes long. I probably won't play all of it, to be honest. Go and watch the video on Dark Ancient Mysteries, the end of it, but we'll just see what the site is, where it is, and have a look, see if it looks like a pyramid and such forth and so on.
The Pyramid in the Mountain. In the heart of Mexico, an ancient wonder more than 2,000 years old looms large, dwarfing even Egypt's famed Great Pyramid of Giza. This is the Great Pyramid of Cholula, a colossal structure largely concealed by the mountainous terrain it was built within. Shrouded in mystery, legend attributes the creation of this engineering marvel to a mythical race of giants said to have roamed Mexico centuries ago. This colossal...
So here we go again with talk of giants in history. And not the first tale from not the first culture as well. That's the cultures that are separated by seas and maybe even time. All talk of giants who built things and roamed the earth, were a bit of a menace, to be honest, and were at war with humans in the end. And the flood in the biblical tale was in effect sent to cleanse the earth of these creatures and their offsprings, and everything to do with the pollution of earth in a way by the fallen angels is the tale in the Bible. But what stands strong, or what keeps coming back, even not in a biblical tale of our Bible sense, and Noah, if you want, even though there is the tale of Gilgamesh in the Sumerian, which is in effect the same tale. So putting gods aside, we still have these talk of giants, unrelated to our Bible, just this again, Mexico. Yeah, still talk of giants, different parts of the earth, things being built that we can't fathom how we built them in modern times, and perhaps giants and the size of which we do not know, but reported to be some incredible sizes. Is this how certain things were built back in the day? Like, I mean, back in the day, you're talking thousands and thousands of years ago. But yet again, more talk of giants, linking to the pyramids as well. So, yeah, Mexico, and I'll play a bit more.
monument, stretching 1,500 feet in width and reaching a height of 220 feet, harbors a labyrinth of tunnels stretching 5 miles beneath its surface. It's the largest pyramid ever constructed by volume, and some consider it to be the largest monument ever crafted by human hands. The temple complex contains many distinct buildings, each possessing unique historical, archaeological, and spiritual attributes. The largest of these structures are La Conejera, the Pyramid of the Painted Skulls, and the Pyramid of the 9 Stories. Beyond these central edifices, courtyards, altars, outbuildings, and decorative surfaces dot the landscape.
As well, you've got to remember, we've probably dug all this up. Like when it's shown us these pictures of these sites and how they look now, not only that's not how they looked when they were built, this is what's left of them. But we've probably dug it all up as well. It was all probably buried and you know what I mean? So again, more evidence that all this stuff's been buried, like in time, something happened, some great cataclysm, wiped everything out, covered everything over. Everything cracked on and for thousands of years, and basically then we found all this stuff again, and now we're trying to figure out what the fuck's gone on. But it's kind of obvious what's gone on to me. It's the tale that we're telling, and we've been told here by the people who are on the right side of history. We've had technology before, we've had great civilizations before. I know these have all been wiped out by something. Something wiped all of these people out, be it a cataclysm, be it disease, be it whatever. I mean, talk of how South America was destroyed in a way, or Mexico. Was the Spanish going over in the old days and taking diseases, which eventually killed them all off because they had no immunity. Well, that's one of the theories, and not a bad logical theory, to be honest, but whether it's true, I don't know. But it's a good theory, but then it's something as well, all these other ancient civilizations all over the world, pyramids all over the world, something did wipe all these people out at one point in time. They did not continue on to be here today, because this is why we don't have a fucking clue how all these things were built or who built them. So yeah, I mean, it's there to be seen. To be honest, it's there to be seen. It's pretty obvious to me, anyway, that that's what's happening here. That's what we either go through a systematic cataclysm, or we've had one and it wiped out an advanced civilization.
These surfaces once bore vibrant Aztec murals, a colorful invocation of goodwill and fortune from the gods. Astoundingly, most of the pyramid is crafted from adobe bricks, a blend of...
Again, all these civilizations, be it not specifically the Bible tale, but everybody talks of gods, sky gods, people who came from the sky, or just gods in general. Everybody has these tale of gods, no matter where we are on the planet, and we didn't speak to each other originally, but yet we've all come to this theory of a god. And when I was a child, or a lot of us were children, I'm sure if nobody told us this whole biblical tale of God and Jesus and hell and heaven and all this crack, we would never come up with this concept on our own, I believe. I don't think I wouldn't have, if nobody had ever told me this early on. I would never have come to this belief through my own conclusions. I doubt, you know what I mean? Especially this concept of heaven and hell and be good and be bad, and I just don't see me coming out of the conclusion that there's a man sat on the clouds. You know what I mean? It's people are struggling to believe it in modern times now. So why would come out with this conclusion? Yet every civilization across the planet seems to have come to this conclusion on their own accord. So there's got to be something in it, really, in the God thing. There's possibly got to be something in the giant thing. There's pyramids all over the world in different cultures. So it kind of all links together, to be honest, and there's got to be something in it, really, hasn't there?
Mud, sand, and straw, baked solid under the sun. Mexico's arid, dry climate has served to preserve these bricks, maintaining their strength and integrity over millennia. The Great Pyramid of Cholula is not considered to be a single structure by some, but a series of 6 or more pyramids built on top of one another, each the contribution of another civilization, designed not to replace the pre-existing monuments, but to preserve them. Over the centuries, archaeologists, explorers, and anthropologists have endeavored to unearth the secrets held within this monument. They seek to understand its origins, peeling back layer upon layer of its construction. Yet, despite their efforts, they have been unable to reach a consensus regarding the identity of the original builders of this monument. The Giants. Aztec mythology describes a race of colossal beings, towering far above human stature.
So Aztec mythology, as well as biblical mythology, mentions giants. So again, opposite sides of the world in effect, but both talking of giants. So there's probably something in this giant thing, to be honest. You know what I mean? It seems to have been covered up in modern times a lot by the Smithsonian, people believe, but there is reports when we were in effect terraforming America back in the day when we went over there and colonized it. The Dutch, the English, the Irish, all this time. There's a lot of reports of digging up fucking giants when they were doing the railroads and all sorts. You know what I mean? There's reports of in the Indian culture, the Hopi Indians or the native Indians. There's talk of giants in that culture as well. Ginger giants who had 2 rows of teeth. And that is again a common thing said, 2 rows of teeth. There's ginger giants mentioned as well quite a lot. So many a talk in many a culture of giants yet again. So I mean, it's there to be seen. Well, it's not really to be seen, but it's there to be heard. And you kind of think if all these people on different sides of the planet who didn't know each other all have the same crack, then there's maybe something in it.
Known as the Kinametsin. These imposing giants, credited in some texts with the monumental achievement of constructing the Great Pyramid of Cholula, are said to have exceeded 10 feet in height and weighed over 600 pounds. According to Aztec lore,
so 10 feet in height. And what a lot of people don't understand with the giant thing is the strength factor. Once we start, I mean, think how much, say, someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger could pick up or look what he looked like in his heyday. And the strength of people are like that, or even, there's even stronger people, I would imagine, but I'm just picking somebody famous that everybody knows. So the size of Arnie in his heyday, and the more if you doubled Arnie's size from, say, I don't even think he's 6 foot, but let's say he's 6 foot, to 12 foot, these were 10 said, you would maybe even more than double the strength, you know what I mean, because the muscle mass. So there is talk of that as well, and once the talk of getting to, like, talk of giants who were 36 feet fucking tall here was mentioned, imagine the strength of some of these beings if they were that tall, and what they could accomplish, and what they could accomplish in numbers. So these stones that we're wondering how we lifted, the big stones, well, if you had six of these men who were 30 feet fucking tall here, they'll be moving things you wouldn't imagine. So you've got to, like, that is one explanation as well as to how they moved some of these blocks and stones that we can't figure out how they moved them. Well, possibly they had people that were 3 times the size of us and had strength 3 times more, and then you get a couple of them together, because apparently there was more than these things were everywhere at one point because they were breeding as well. Then you've got an army of these things that are capable of doing great things, you would imagine, and perhaps all these things, these giants of folklore, built all the pyramids. Perhaps that's what their crack was, something to do with pyramids. Who knows? But again, more claims of pyramids, giants, and then you wonder how we built the pyramids and moved some of the blocks in Giza and some of these other ones. And it kind of links together yet again, but no actual proof of it. It's just connections and mythology in a way. But again, all these people talk of giants and all these pyramids we've got, and yeah, it kind of links together.
Or the giants inhabited the earth during an era known as the Sun of Rain. However, their failure to appease the gods led to their downfall. Divine retribution was swift and merciless, raining down a catastrophic flood from the heavens.
That's the exact tale of the Bible, that these people were not good. God didn't like them. God was pissed off, and God fucked them all over with a flood. And bada bing, it is pretty much the same tale, but in the Aztec crack, apparently.
That annihilated these colossal beings, among other punishments. The mythology highlights the story of a single giant, Shelwa, who managed to evade the punishing flood by scaling the neighboring Mount Tlaloc.
See, a giant survived, and in the Bible, the saying in the Bible is there was Nephilim on the earth, I think, in those days, and after. It does say and after, and maybe a few of them did survive. That's a possibility, and here is a tale of one surviving, but it does mention in the Bible, it does say they were in the land in the days of Noah, but also and after, it does say that, but it doesn't go into any sort of massively detailed explanation, especially in Genesis in the Bible. More the Book of Enoch, to be honest. The Book of Enoch does explain in a lot more detail what's going on with the giants and the Nephilim and the fallen angels. But here we have tale of one surviving, and again the Bible does allude to that some did survive.
Lalok. As the waters retreated, Shelwa descended, and in a bid to calm the gods and ward off another disaster, he erected the Great Pyramid of Cholula. His endeavors eventually elevated him to the status of a deity, where the Aztecs...
See, could that be the crack? The giants built them in the aftermath because of the flood, the ones that survived, to appease the gods, to hopefully not get slaughtered like the rest of their race at that point. And God, you'd angered the gods. And if you were living in a time of gods, when you believed in gods, and gods had just fucked you over with a big flood, maybe it's something you would do. I build a pyramid to appease the gods, but again, good theory.
Aztecs recognized him as one of 7 giants, symbolizing different parts of the Milky Way. The narrative of the Kinametsin also fascinated Spanish missionaries who arrived on the shores of America with the mission of spreading the gospel. They had heard of vast buildings of biblical proportions, as well as of a Goliath-like race of people. Spanish conquistadors, including philologist Andres de Olmos, recovered bones that appeared to be human but were far greater in size. One bone was believed to be that of a Kinametsin foot, the toes of which were each the size of the palm of a human hand.
So the toes, again, look at your palm. The toes were the size of a human palm. So again, talk of bones being found. Where these bones are today, we do not know. They don't seem to appear anywhere. But multiple reports of them being found here, and then the sizes of these people being great.
The Spanish accounts align with the Aztec belief that the giants had built the Great Pyramid of Cholula, with the invaders struggling to fathom how such immense structures could have been created by the natives, whom...
And again, with size would also come an in size in the brain, an increase in the size of the brain, you would imagine. They are bigger people, bigger arms, bigger legs, bigger everything, bigger brains. Could this lead to a greater intelligence? Has this greater intelligence led to the building of all these structures that we're struggling to think of how these people done it and thought of it? But was it the giants? And again, quite a good explanation, but you would imagine these giants could have been quite intelligent creatures.
They incorrectly considered to be too primitive. Modern science, however, has never found any substantial or reliable evidence of giant humans, and the huge bones recovered by the Spanish were likely those of animals.
So again, sort of the no crack of the bones, likely those of animals. Was but that's kind of like thinking the people in the past were thick, and it's not really the way of things. We just look on people in the past as thick, but they kind of weren't, to be honest, and a lot of times knew more than we did now. So that's a way of trying to cover it up in a way. So the jury's out on the giants. It's massively out, but it's a crack, and it's more a mythological crack, to be honest, a crack from history, as we know. But I mean, there's dinosaur bones. Could they have been covered up as dinosaur bones, large bones? You know what I mean? But yeah, the bones seem to go missing. That's the one problem in the theory. We don't actually have the bones. But there is talk of people trying to cover it up, like the Smithsonian. But are they, or is that just a conspiracy theory? But yeah, just a lot of talk of it, and a lot of talk of, not just in history, but of finding the bones, but we never seem to have the bones in the end up. I'll leave it there. Go and watch the rest of the video on Dark 5 Ancient Mysteries, but I just thought it was an interesting crack. It links a lot of things together. And yeah, did the giants build the pyramids? But good theories in there, some good theories, and ones that I hadn't necessarily heard before, about appeasing the gods after the flood. But yeah, just an interesting video yet again. YouTube, brilliant. Peace.